Roberts Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC presents Kevin Keatsman Has Issues. Shop, click, drive at robertsrobinson.com.
Okay, so here's my promise for this episode of KKHI. I'm not going to let this become a bummer, a downer, okay? We got a couple of heavy topics here this time out, and I think what we'll call this maybe is analysis or some insight into some of the things that are causing societal problems in the United States today that don't seem to be as big a deal worldwide as they are here in our country. And we see them frequently. We see them on the news, and a lot of folks, it gets too hard, it gets too heavy. You know, we're wanting to live our lives and be happy and love those that are in our family and people in our circle and treat others well and live a happy and healthy life. That's all we all really strive for. So it becomes difficult to deal with really heavy issues on this podcast. And a lot of times I avoid them because they are just too dark and too heavy. But this time around, after watching the school shooting in Nashville break out, and then subsequently we did a patron podcast in the afternoon yesterday on this before we knew a whole lot about the shooter. But I think there's just something so much bigger here that we have to address about what's going on in our society. And it's all kind of wrapped up into one giant, I don't know, like a ball of string. It's just so bundled together and intertwined in so many ways that we can see it and kind of feel what we're doing wrong. The question now is, what can we do about it to fix it? As we've moved into the age of the internet and the age of social media, and we understand the influence from other countries on platforms like TikTok, and we know what it is that China does with TikTok in their country versus what they do in our country, or versus what it's become in our country, and they just knew it would become that, and they allow it. We see really the difficulty of running a free democracy, the beacon of light and freedom in the world. We understand the challenges. It is absolutely the greatest way to be, but there are absolutely holes in the system. There's no question about it. And when you give so much freedom to so many people, and you move to a place where there is a glorification of, and I'll probably get myself in trouble here with the way I'm describing this stuff, because I'm older and there's only one way I can look at this, and that's what I've thought of these things for a long time and the way they've been discussed or what they've been called or named for a long time, and that's just as I know them. And I don't mean any harm to any people. I've got a pretty good track record here. You know that I believe all people should be happy and healthy and loving and live their private life the way they want to live their private life. Don't harm others. You know, live and let live, but don't harm others. I'm good with that, and I think you're good with that, and I think most people are good with that. But as we've done that, when we take that a step too far, when one large group of people in this country, and this is liberals, when one large group of people in this country paint the rest of society as haters, that they hate people based on their skin color, their gender identity, their sexual preference, their religion. I'm watching The Voice on Monday night, and they're running anti-Jewish hate ads. I'm like, really? I can't watch The Voice now with something going on here? I don't know where that came from. Some group bought ads, and so they got the host of the show to make some comment before it went to a commercial break, so they obviously paid a ton of money for this. It's just splintering all of us. There no longer is any, hey, we're all Americans. Let's all identify as Americans and everything else secondarily. We refuse to do that in this country. We refuse to do that in this day and age. And the Nashville shooting brings out so many thoughts about what we're doing wrong and how we've gotten to this place. We learn in not really short order, it's almost as if authorities wanted you to not know, that the shooter is a transgender. It's a woman who's transing to be a man, or was. The shooter's dead now. CNN refuses to use any gender identity at all. They don't say woman, and they don't say trans. So this is part of our cultural problem. This was a confused person with gender dysphoria, angry at society, feeling like a victim, and we celebrate this in our society. We take these people and we consider them marginalized. We say the marginalized people, and we say everyone is out to hate them and hurt them. And because we want to protect the majority in places like Tennessee, and I believe this was all really hatched in the last few weeks, they've been passing things in Tennessee. It's been a hot topic in Tennessee. The drag shows, the books in schools, the sexual orientation forced on little kids in elementary schools. We've seen this and stuff all across the country for an extremely tiny minority in this country, which is LGBTQ, which of that, the T is transgender, which is a very small part of our society. We are exposing young children in our schools and at plays and at different events to that lifestyle because it's not that we allow the lifestyle. There's no question we allow the lifestyle. It's now we must force it on everyone to accept it. It must be pushed. It must be celebrated. And this is where the sports stars have stood out in my mind. The hockey players most recently said, we're not wearing this stuff. We're not pushing and celebrating what they are. We respect and love them for who they are. That's fine. But we're not going to go out here and push this on society that this is the way to live. We are absolutely pushing on young people that being trans or being gay is cool. It's fun. It's hip. You should consider it. These are the same people that say you're born a certain way. Where's that argument? That argument is now gone. Many people for many years said, well, you choose to be gay. And they say, no, you don't choose to be gay. You're born gay. Okay, I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm not any of the alphabet letters. I'm a heterosexual male. I'm the one that's in the crosshairs that we certainly can't celebrate and won't celebrate in this country anymore. Fine. I don't need to be celebrated. But I don't think others should be celebrated either. And why are they teaching this to young children if they don't think this can be a learned behavior? If they don't think that changing your gender or your sexual identity or orientation can be learned or taught, why are they teaching it? And so we do this. And what's happened over the last few weeks in Tennessee is the people in the LGBTQ community have threatened, not all, not a majority, there have been threats of violence against conservatives in Tennessee for passing these rules in schools and the laws and the things that they're doing in Tennessee to protect the majority of children who are heterosexual and will be and will never change, never consider changing, and can't possibly even fathom or understand the other lifestyle. They accept it. They see it. They would never do harm to those people. If they needed help in the street, they'd help those people. That's not it. But it's hard for heterosexuals to understand. It has always been hard to understand a very small minority of people that live what I always was told was an alternative lifestyle. Now, I'm pretty sure you can't say that today, that that's not the way we say this. But these people were threatening violence. Maren Morris, a country singer who lives in Nashville, dared the Nashville police to come effing arrest her because she took her 3-year-old boy to a drag show where she was going to perform and sing and exposed him to the drag queens. And apparently you're not supposed to take kids to drag shows anymore in Tennessee. And she dared the Nashville police very publicly in Tennessee and Nashville to come effing arrest me for doing this with my 3-year-old son. And she's not gay. This stuff doesn't make any sense to me. Then there were threats of violence on Facebook and social media from people in the LGBT community. It gets posted. It gets seen. There are unhinged people in this community. And one of them was the woman that grabbed a couple of assault rifles and a pistol, shot her way into this Christian school with an anti-Christian manifesto. So this is the extremely tiny minority of people in our country and their lifestyle against an extremely large majority of people saying, we're going to go commit violence on you because people are telling us you're out to get us. There is paranoia here. There is confusion. There is gender dysphoria. There is anger at society. There is playing the victim. This woman wrote a manifesto. She hates Christians. This is a mental health crisis. This person is effed up in the worst possible way. And what do we do in our society? And how can we fix it? The solution is simple. If we're allowed to do it, if the left will allow us to do this, the solution is simple. We get these people that are completely and utterly confused in their teenage years and in their 20s, don't know who and what they are, and assess them as people that need mental health professionals. You need help from the mental health professionals. If you fit into this category, we need to first sit down with professionals instead of groomers that are teaching you to be something and glorifying it and saying, be this and hate everyone else because everyone else is out to get you. That is dark, is bad for our society. Folks, I saw this story yesterday. The Colorado Springs shooter, non-binary. Denver shooter, trans. Aberdeen shooter, trans. Nashville shooter, trans. We got ourselves a problem here. What we used to call the alternative lifestyle community, the LGBT community, is angry. There are extreme mental health issues in this community. There is confusion, dysphoria. There's all kinds of people that can be persuaded into being accepted in this group. And this is where I fit, and they accept me. And then hate is taught to hate the rest of society because the paranoia that for whatever reason they think politicians or the GOP or conservatives are coming to get them. They're not coming to get them. They're saying you can't do this in school. That's all they're saying. Just like you can't teach Christianity in school. You can't teach this in school. This is to be taught at home. This doesn't belong in our public schools. This person went in with a map, shot their way in. The alarms immediately went off. The police were notified. The school locked down. Everyone in this protocol did apparently exactly the right thing, and we still lost 6 people. They apparently did everything right at this school, and we lost 3 kids and 3 adults. The 2 Nashville cops that entered were shot at upon arrival. This crazy shooter was up on the 2nd floor waiting for cops to shoot at cops as they arrived. Shot at the cops as they were entering the building. They got in the building, and 14 minutes after the call to Nashville police was made, these 2 hero cops got in and killed this crazy woman. Neutralized the scene. We still lost 6 people. We did everything right by all accounts in this one and still lost 6 people. You cannot stop crazy suicidal people with guns. Now, we don't know where she got the guns. We don't know if they were legal or illegal or whatever. At this point, it doesn't really matter. These people that do this are going to get guns. We've seen the overwhelming majority of cases with mass shooters. They did not get the gun legally. They got it from somebody else. They stole it. Their parents had it in the house. Something happened that it wasn't theirs. It wasn't legal. It wasn't ever. So we can talk about gun control all day, but it's a waste of time. There's enough guns out there in the country that the people that want to do this are going to find them, and they're going to go do this. Our problem is mental health. Our problem is mental health. And I was going to save this for the sports part because the Royals are doing something really interesting this year. They have a woman named Melissa Lambert that's going to be in the dugout. She's the first Royals woman in the dugout. She's their director of behavioral sciences. She's their mental health coach. Baseball players get in slumps. They get down on themselves. The Royals basically have a team psychologist in the dugout. Like during the game, you can go talk to her. She is a former college soccer player, and she's a counselor. Now, I want to know how we got to a place in society where we can have this woman who I have no problem with her doing this with the Royals. I think it can help. There are many players that have already spoken out saying this is great. We like her. We know we can go to her in confidence. And she can help us, free our minds and go up to the plate and feel like we can hit, whatever. I'm totally good with it. If you don't want to use that as a resource, don't use it, but it's available. How in the world have we gotten to a place where we think that baseball players, to perform at a high level, might need a behavioral science director in the dugout? But we can't even suggest that members of LGBTQ or parents of these kids that are teaching them this stuff or the drag shows or the things that we see them do, that we can't even suggest that they might need some mental help, some behavioral science help professionally. You can't even say that. You can't even whisper it. And I just, for the life of me, don't understand it. These same people for decades said this is not learned behavior. You're born this way. Now they're saying it's learned behavior. We're going to teach this to kids. We want to teach a gay lifestyle to our children. We want to teach it in the classroom. We see teachers that have pride flags put up. We see all these things. They're teaching this. The numbers are growing. There is no question the numbers are growing. I'm not a scientist. I'm not an expert on LGBTQ, but I see what's happening. They used to say it wasn't learned behavior, that it wasn't a choice, that you were born this way. And now they seem to be going after young kids and teenagers, teaching them the lifestyle, telling them this is for you, just as any religion may try to recruit people to come to their church, or, any other way that you go out and find young people and recruit them to do what they do, whether it's Cub Scouts, Little League Baseball. You go out and you get them and you want them to play and you say, hey, this is good for your life. Learn this behavior. Learn how to play team sports. I've always been a big believer in team sports. It's not for everyone. I think it could help just about everyone, but it's not for everyone. Not everybody plays team sports. Fine. I just don't know how we got to a point where we can't identify this for what it is. We have a mental health crisis in this country. There's no arguing that. We all know that. And then the aftermath of this one is what? Our media. Here's what the media reaction is on places like CNN. It's so disingenuous. It's not going to get better. We're making these people famous. We're making them big stories, and we're making them heroes on the left. We are. They talk about radical right and MAGA Republicans and violence or whatever and all this other stuff. Man, these people on the left that are committing crimes, this is outrageous what's happening. And they immediately take to the television network. CNN will not refer to this person. They don't want to put the name up because that implies it's a woman. They don't identify the shooter by gender. They will not mention that this is a trans person. They simply won't do it. Jill Biden was the first to walk to a microphone. Then Karine Jean-Pierre, she got the story wrong. She was so excited to go out there and talk about gun control that she said 6 kids were killed and was corrected by a reporter at the White House. We have the White House publicity person so anxious to talk about guns that she just dismissed the victim. We had 6 little kids die. It wasn't 6 kids. It was 3 kids and 3 heroic staffers who lost their lives trying to protect those kids. That is a far different story for the White House to convey. And then Joe Biden goes out to speak about it, and he starts making jokes about ice cream and little kids, and it's the most awkward, weird thing ever before he comments on the thing. You can't make this stuff up, how badly they handle this. All they want to talk about is the GOP and guns, GOP and guns. That's all they did. This has nothing to do with the GOP. This is your top voter. This is one of the most publicized groups of voters that you have in the Democrat Party. LGBTQ+. This is your wheelhouse. This is a freaking crazy person that doesn't know if they're a man or a woman because they're learning this behavior from other people. 28 years old, and you're trying to figure out who and what you are. You're a strange person with all kinds of effed up crap in your head. You're a mental health nightmare is what you are. And that's how you found what? Love or acceptance or something in an extreme minority community. And then they taught you hate, that everybody's coming after you, and the paranoia in your head and the mental health problems you have triggers, and you go, we got to do something about these people. They're coming after us. And you go to your former church and former school and shoot it up. And that's a gun problem? Give me a break. The 2 cops are absolutely heroes. I mean, I don't know what else you can say here. They were just unbelievable how well they did. And we not only congratulate them, we celebrate them. Can we get them on a nice long vacation? I mean, a nice long one. They'll stand down for a while. They'll get some counseling because it's a tough thing to shoot somebody and kill them. They'll get the right counseling. Then let's see if we can't get them about a month-long vacation on a beach somewhere. Those are heroes, man. Those are heroes. Those 2 officers, one had been there 5 years, the other 9. You to run toward an assault rifle, whew, man, that's a tough job. Getting shot at as you're entering the school, and you go run to the shooter and take out the shooter. Nice work, gentlemen. Outstanding work. There is even more hate out there from the left. This one's This one is exactly what I'm talking about when we say we allow all these things. There's a professor at Wayne State University. This professor at Wayne State University went on Facebook and was talking about the university when they occasionally have conservative speakers. This person's a crazy leftist. Went on Facebook and literally wrote, "It is far more admirable to kill than it is to shout them down." In other words, when a conservative speaker comes and speaks, it doesn't do any good to go there and protest and scream and shout them down and holler. It is far more admirable to kill. And gave a couple of examples throughout history where that occurred, and then they said the courts let the people go because the killing was justified. My God, free speech is a wonderful thing, but this is just out of control. This should be a crime. It's definitely a crime if you threaten the president with words like this. Why wouldn't it be a crime to threaten a speaker like this? Free speech is one thing. It should be a crime in society to suggest or threaten murdering someone. What do you think Wayne State University did with this wackadoodle liberal professor? Wayne State University suspended the professor with pay. With pay. What? Again, on Facebook, a long diatribe about history and shootings and all these different things, goes on there and says, when conservatives come and speak, those that you deem are full of hate, really, there's no definition of who a bigot is here, okay? There's no definition if you're a racist or a homophobe or any of these other things. That's just for the individual to decide if this person's a hater and a terrible person. And if you're a leftist and you think a conservative, Glenn Youngkin was just canceled by a school in Virginia, they don't want the governor to come speak because they think he's crazy or something. I don't even understand. But if you deem that person crazy, this professor's saying it's more admirable to kill than it is to shout them down. And this professor got suspended with pay? Woo, folks. Holy hat. Are we in a bind? All right, KKHI is brought to you by Window World, simply the best for less, online at Windows Kansas City. They're the official windows of the Kansas City Chiefs, and they can come to your house, give you a free analysis and estimate. 0% financing is available on doors, siding, and, of course, their famous windows with a lifetime warranty. American made, and the J.D. Power and Associates Award for customer satisfaction again. Call John and his team at Window World, 816-799-0820. For Window World, simply the best for less. Back Nine Development, your custom home builder. I saw a really interesting real estate trend that there is basically a split right down the middle of the country, that the real estate market is staying hot from roughly the Colorado border with Kansas eastward and the Colorado border with Kansas westward. Going west, prices are falling, there's plenty of inventory, and most of the hot markets out there are really, really backing off. Kansas City for 2022 was one of the hottest markets in America, and it hasn't slowed down. The inventory is low. If you don't like what you're seeing out there and you're thinking about building a house like we did, call Back Nine Development, online at back9development.com. Anywhere in the Kansas City area, Lawrence, Topeka, Manhattan, Back Nine would love to work with you about your dream come true. Custom homes, commercial properties, room additions, back9development.com. And advanced medical imaging. See what's inside. Hey, if you need an MRI or a CT scan, a lot of times they'll make you wait 2 or 3 weeks. Don't wait 2 or 3 weeks. If you think you might have a tumor or something bad going on, why would you want to have sleepless nights for 3 weeks while you're waiting to get your scan done? Advanced medical imaging can do it today or tomorrow. medimageks.com. They work with all major insurance companies. Healthcare is a mess in those big, giant hospital chains, okay? So your doctor says you need to get an MRI or a CT scan. You can pick the place. Your insurance will cover this. You're good to go. medimageks.com at Advanced Medical Imaging. They also do heart scans that are not covered by insurance that you can get your plaque score for under $100. medimageks.com. Big fans. Donald Trump was on with Sean Hannity on Monday night and talked at great length about Ron DeSantis. It was unbecoming. It was Trump being Trump. It just feels too early for him to be attacking and being mean toward Ron DeSantis. Maybe he's trying to shape the polls in such a way that DeSantis will stay out. I think DeSantis is getting in. Trump thinks DeSantis is getting in. Trump did say a couple of pretty good things. He discussed how he would fix the economy very quickly. A lot of it had to do with energy. And he said in 24 hours, we'd have a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. Elect me president, and within 24 hours, that war is over. That's a pretty good campaign promise. I think most Americans would agree with that. And I don't think most Americans care if Ukraine loses a little ground and gives some of it up to Russia if there's a treaty. I really don't. I don't. I think Trump, for years, they said, he was scamming in Ukraine and scamming in Russia and making money, and they were all colluding with him to win elections and all this stuff. It turns out while they were accusing him of that, that's all the Democrats were doing. Was business there, oligarchs, money, all the stuff that they're doing. And we now see it in broad daylight. And now they're warmongering in Ukraine, which is just insane. So Trump had some really good things to say in this interview, and he's got excellent policies that will fix America very quickly. But man, he was tough on DeSantis. He came out and told a long story and said when he was 30 points down in the poll running for Florida governor, he came to me with tears in his eyes and begged me for an endorsement. I said, you're so far down. Why should I endorse you? You can't win. He's like, yes, I can. Yes, I can. He was running against a guy named Putnam. He goes, yes, I can. And Trump said he had supported me during impeachment. A lot of people supported me, Trump said, but he had supported me during impeachment. And so I thought, I'll give him my endorsement. And whoosh, he went rocketing up the polls, and he wound up winning it. He said the man was desperate, and I helped him out. And then shortly thereafter, they asked him, are you going to run against Trump? And he says, I'm not going to comment on that, which means, of course, I'm going to run against Trump. Trump is saying this is a matter of loyalty, that he has, and I'll give Trump credit here. He's right. The way politics has always been played is there are kingmakers. Trump became president. He won the party. This used to be the Bush family. Now it's Trump. Trump's a kingmaker. He's made a lot of kings. DeSantis is one of them. Okay? And the way the game's always been played is you wait your turn. Trump isn't done yet. DeSantis is plenty young to wait. And I think that's the case. He's not particularly articulate, Trump isn't, about making that case because he's just too busy attacking DeSantis and calling him names, saying, well, he'd be in a pizza parlor right now if it wasn't for my endorsement. Like he'd be working in a pizza parlor. Okay. So Trump did it, gave him the endorsement, says he made his career. I understand that this is how politics is done. There's a hierarchy, and these people should be standing down to Donald Trump right now. They should, but he's not a sitting president, so they all see a way in. And I honestly, I think it'd be great if DeSantis sat out. I do. I think it'd be great if he said. I think it'd probably be a good decision for him. Get in line, support Trump. Let's get one front here. Let's get Haley and all these other non-candidates that are running to get in line and support Trump, and let's do this thing. I'm cool with that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is going to be a bloodbath, and I fear that the candidate of the future, Ron DeSantis, gets scarred up so bad during this that he'll never be accepted as a legitimate candidate by the GOP voters. We'll see. I don't know. But I get the loyalty part. I get that, I supported you and gave you an endorsement, and you're the governor, and you're way up in Florida now and winning your elections big, and you've done a great job. He didn't make him a great governor. DeSantis has done that on his own. But there is something to, hey, they endorsed me, and that made a big difference for me becoming governor where I am. Probably shouldn't run against that dude. I do believe that. I know that's what I do. I can just tell you right now. But maybe I'm not as cutthroat as these guys, and that's why they are where they are. I would definitely wait my term. If I was the governor of Kansas right now and a hot national item, and Donald Trump pulled me over the top to help me win governor of Kansas, and then the next time I ran, I won in a landslide on my own. If Trump had done that for me, I would not run against him. There's no chance I would do that. I mean, zero. I wouldn't even think about it. There's no chance I'd run against the man. Not just because I don't want to get beat up, just because thank you for what I have here. And I'm young enough that I can run later. You're much older than me. I can run next time. This one's yours. There's the on-ramp. It's all yours. I get it. I totally get what Trump is saying, and I agree with him. I agree with Trump wholeheartedly on that. That the right thing for DeSantis to do would be to be loyal to Trump and not run. That's true. But it's just too hard. Right now, DeSantis is white hot with donors, with anti-Trumpers. It's, Trump is out. You don't know what's going to happen with Trump with the Department of Justice or any of these things. It just looks like too good of an opportunity right now to not run because Joe Biden is so beatable. That's what has DeSantis motivated more than anything else. Joe Biden is so beatable. And if DeSantis gets in, heck, Trump may be out on his own accord. Something could happen with Trump. He could get arrested. It could be a DOJ thing. There could be a problem out there. I don't think so. He seems to get out of all these, and it makes him stronger with his base. But we'll see. I can only tell you what I would do. And I'm not really faulting DeSantis that much, certainly not as much as Trump, but I do agree with Trump on this one. And I can tell you, if I were Ron DeSantis, I wouldn't be running. I don't think I've said that on this podcast yet. I would not be running. If that man endorsed me and helped me become governor and put me in the position where I am now, I wouldn't run against him. And I do believe in loyalty, and I wouldn't do that. Loyalty has burned me so many times in my life. Loyalty sounds great. It can be a curse. Treating other people well will disappoint you. Not every time, not even most of the time. But boy, when it happens, it's the most painful thing there is. I got a former employee from 810 that's just been apparently for a couple of years just ripping me on Twitter. And now they have this thing on Twitter that says I don't read this stuff. Now there's a thing called For You, and somehow there's an algorithm that pulls things out that involve you or things that you like. And I found it kind of interesting because it is topics that I like. And a lot of it is, not necessarily people that I'm following or looking at or things like that. And one of these things pops up over the weekend, and this guy's on there saying, I need help. He says, this man needs help. This is a person that I could not. Well, it's out there in the public. His name is Doug Stewart. He used to work at 810. He was a producer and reporter on Petro's show. And when we had to downsize, Petro decided to fire him and send him out. And he kept Curtis Siebold. And I don't know if Doug thought I was behind it or what. I have no idea what he thought at the time. But I did nothing but treat this man with respect. I respected him as a newsman, as a journalist. I didn't know what his politics were. We never talked about it. I figured I knew. But he was the cool guy, man. He rode a motorcycle to work, smoked cigarettes out on the deck during commercial breaks. I'm like, this was the badass, tough dude, man. I like this guy. And he'd go ask anybody anything. And I had that in common with him. I loved that about him. And I don't know what in the world I possibly ever did other than completely and totally support him. And he's completely and totally turned on me and goes after me. And I don't get it. I don't know. I don't understand why that happens. I don't get it. But loyalty's in short order in this world. And I'll tell you, I'll warn you right now. I've told my kids as they were growing up, don't use the word fair. There's nothing fair in the world. Nothing fair. If you give loyalty, don't expect to get it back. And that's what Donald Trump is feeling. You want it back. You may think you deserve it. Boy, you better not expect it because you just don't know enough about the other person. You don't. There's going to be people in your life that really let you down, that you're incredibly loyal to, that all of a sudden one day say, you know what? I don't think this is working. Really? I've given decades to you and done everything for you. What? Oh, yeah, loyalty can be a one-way street. I'm going to remain loyal. I'll promise you that. I'm going to remain loyal, and I'm sure I will be burned by that again at some point. That's how it works. Ron Buck is your loyal roofer for sure. Ron Buck does such a great job. Man, this company is just great. The emails I get, you should just see them all from people that are so happy with whether it's a small repair or just an inspection or a whole new roof. Buck Roofing is going to treat your property like it's his. They're absolute pros. If you'd like to get a free roof inspection this spring, call 913-384-2680. You haven't been on your roof. I haven't been on my roof. All right, my house is new enough. I don't need a roof inspection yet, but you know what? I get about 3 or 4 years in on this house. I'm going to call him. What do we got going on up there, Ron? I'll take an inspection. I want to make sure that it's all good. rbuckroofing.com or 913-384-2680. You'll sleep well knowing Buck Roofing fixed the roof over your head. Doug Horn of the Horn Law Firm, who reminds you to be as safe as you can possibly be driving on the road. You have a front row seat. Okay? When you know Doug Horn, you have a front row seat to everything that has to do with driver responsibility. He's got a book that you can order online. It's free, hornlaw.com, the Teenage Driver Safety Book, a great thing for your teenage drivers. There are things in there for you as well. When you drive, be alert, buckled, cautious, and defensive. Why is ABCD so important? Because so many other people, other drivers, especially young and old drivers, aren't. They're distracted, and we're seeing more and more really horrific crashes out there. You need to stay out of them. Sometimes avoiding the accident is everything. It's a passion of Doug's. He means this. It's 32 years of service in this industry, seeing everything you could possibly see. And he literally wants fewer car crashes. I don't know how else to describe it other than here's an attorney who wants less business. He would love it if there went a year with no accidents and nothing, and his phones never rang. He would love that. If you've been in an accident, if something happens, your first call should be to Horn Law. Kansas or Missouri, Doug Horn is the pro. He's not the flashiest guy, but he's the adult in the room. He knows this industry inside and out, and he can help you, whether it's an insurance claim, just to get your car fixed, or whether you've been injured. Hornlaw.com, 816-795-7500. The first call is free to Doug Horn, and you will speak with him personally. I recommend that highly. The Finch Knife Company's online at finchknifeco.com. They've got the Hatfield collection of knives out right now. Hatfield and McCoy is coming up later this year. But if you want to check them out, log on to finchknifeco.com. Dr. Jeremy Fry the other day sent me an unbelievable picture. They were on vacation. He's with his son there in the kitchen, and they apparently got some coconuts out of a tree where they were on vacation, and they had their Finch pocket knives, and they were carving up these coconuts and taking the good stuff out and getting all the juice and everything else with these coconuts with their Finch knives. Like, that's awesome. I think Jeremy Fry has pretty much bought every Finch knife there is. I mean, he loves them. I think he collects them, and he gives them as gifts. A lot of folks do. He says he's never seen like it. These are outdoorsy people. They're hunters. They're fishermen. They're outdoor. The Fries are outdoorsy. And you want an endorsement? This guy's got it. it's it. He loves his Finch pocket knives and loves every single one of them. I just thought it was cool they were cutting coconuts open with them. I never really thought of that, but why not? We got these coconuts. We're looking for a knife. I got my Finch pocket knife. Let's do it. And it worked out great. What a great father-son experience that must have been on vacation with their Finch knives from finchknifeco.com, or visit Shields in Overland Park, or I guess visit Dr. Jeremy at any one of his locations if you're looking for Invisalign or braces. He's a great dude. On to sports. Here we go. Let's do this. The Royals played on Monday night against the Rangers, 4-4 tie final. They're in Arlington. They have another game on Tuesday afternoon, then they open the season on Thursday. On Monday night, Michael Massey hit a home run, Hunter Dozier hit a home run. It's kind of exciting. The players, many of them, spent the day at Six Flags, which is right there. The theme park is right there by the ballpark in Arlington. MJ Melendez was taking pictures, putting them on Twitter. Vinny Pasquantino, the guy with the best name in baseball, Pasquatch, was taking pictures. They were riding roller coasters. They were shooting baskets. They were playing kids' games. Michael Massey was there. He would later hit a home run on Monday night. And this is the kind of stuff when you watch this and you realize, yes, these are men. These are grown men playing baseball for a lot of money in many cases. Not those three players I just mentioned. They're not overly wealthy yet. But you just kind of see that they're still kids at heart. It was fun. They were riding roller coasters together, taking pictures. It's a good sign, man. You want to see that on a team, don't you? Don't you want to see them doing things like that on the road? You know, not pictures at maybe 1:30 in the morning with ladies hanging out at the hotel or something. This is great. That's great. They were doing all the kid games, like the Carney games. They were doing the Carney games. You know, where you try to shoot the basket in the rim that's smaller than the ball. Impossible. Or the ball's made out of rubber and it just bounces around like crazy. You know, the impossible Carney games, the milk bottle ring toss. They were doing all those things, man. It was cool. The water guns. These guys were having a great time. They will finish up in Arlington and fly home. On Tuesday night, they'll be home. They'll have a light workout at Kauffman Stadium on Wednesday, and the season opens on Thursday at 3:10. We're excited for Royals baseball. My mom is excited for Royals baseball. They look like they got something better going on than they had last year, but they always look like that. We always can see the positives here. You know, they got Franmil Reyes and Jackie Bradley Jr. They've added a couple of veteran guys to the team. They've sent a couple of younger players down, which I think has a lot of people kind of scratching their head, but I think that's the way you start the year out. I think the attempt here is don't get blown out of the season in the first month. All right, we don't want to go 5-15 to start the year. I mean, my gosh, how much fun would it be if the Royals just started 10-10? And we get toward the end of April and the Royals are right at 500 and everybody's bunched together and we've made it and the weather's getting warmer. How fun would that be? It's going to be about the pitching. They think Brad Keller is much better with his new curveball. Brady Singer looks like a stud. They got 3 power arms in the back of the bullpen that they can go to. They got Barlow, they got Stamont, they got Chapman. 3 dudes. The order they use them, let's wait and see exactly what that's going to be. They got 3 big power arms at the back end. Okay. I'm always willing to give the Royals a chance. Here's why. Because I look around Major League Baseball at the other teams, and there certainly are teams that are outstanding. No, but the really great ones appear to be in the National League. The money's being spent by the Mets, the Dodgers, the Astros are freaks. We see that. When I look around the American League, and even in the division, you just don't see this mega star power. Maybe I'm getting older, but I do think the game's changing. They look younger. They don't look... Baseball players, to me, look a little bit more like just out of college. It looks to me like that there aren't as many players playing as long. There's a whole lot of 32-year-olds that the game just turns its back on and says, nope, we're not paying you what we need to pay you at 32. You can just go retire or be gone. That they're all willing to have a whole bunch of really young, aggressive, fun ball players on their team that play hard and aren't as entitled or as spoiled as previous generations of Major League Baseball players. This generation just strikes me as completely different. And I think that gives the Royals a chance. I think when I watch these teams and see how they play, and the other teams in the division are certainly losing ball players, they're not all able to keep their free agents when they become free agents. You see them come and go. I just think maybe it's an era where if the Royals get a little bit better, they might be a lot better in the standings. Does that make any sense? Not sure it totally rings true, but let's watch them. It's going to be about the pitching. Got to be about the pitching. And it starts Thursday with Zach Greinke. I wish Brady Singer was on the hill, but he is not. It is Zach Greinke, and that is what it is. Oh, you've heard of the Chiefs fan, Chiefsaholic, right? Javier Babudar, Chiefsaholic. He dresses up like a wolf. Full wolf costume, goes to games. Well, he did. He was on his way to Houston last year for a game when he stopped in Bixby, Oklahoma, and decided to walk in with a gun and rob the bank. He did that, and he got caught. They arraigned him. Somehow they lowered bond from $200,000 to $80,000, and in February, they put an ankle monitor on him and sent him home. He started bragging on social media about the sports bets that he'd made. He had $5,000 on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl and $5,000 on Mahomes to win MVP. They both paid 10-1. He made them way previous to the Super Bowl. This dude's got $110,000 to go collect at Hollywood Casino, and he can't go collect it. Why? It's not really the ankle bracelet, because he took the ankle monitor off, according to authorities, and he missed his hearing on Monday in Oklahoma. He skipped out on it, and now they have a $1 million bond arrest for his arrest. $1 million for his arrest. He's fled. He's gone. They don't know where he is. No word from the casino on whether or not he sent somebody else to get that money, to give him money to get him by for whatever. I mean, it sounds like he's probably attempted to leave the country, which doesn't seem like it would be very hard to do, but he also doesn't strike me as a really smart guy. So I'm not sure. This is a serious deal. This guy has to be considered dangerous. He walked in with a gun to a bank and robbed it. And now they think he might have robbed multiple banks. And now he's cut the bracelet off and is a fugitive. And if he leaves the country and is just long gone and winds up in Honduras somewhere and stays quiet the rest of his life, good riddance. But either that or we got to find this guy. He belongs in jail. This is a serious thing. I think we all laugh at it because he's a guy that wears a costume and he's a Chiefs fan, so we don't think he's dangerous. Oh, he's dangerous. People, when they know they're facing jail for years and years because of armed robbery, they're dangerous as hell. They'll do anything to stay out of jail. So we kind of want to laugh at this story, but you just can't. It's far too serious. Transfer portal is open in college basketball. KU, K-State, and Missouri fans are all talking about it. A big fish is out there this year. Caleb Love is the top scorer at the University of North Carolina. This is where college basketball is today. North Carolina's top scorer, they didn't make the NCAA tournament. North Carolina's top scorer is toast. He's gone. He's out. Now, he's from St. Louis. Is Missouri the team in play here? KU, K-State, everybody's going to want him. Guy scored 17 points a game for North Carolina. He's going to score 17 for you, right? This is going to be crazy to watch this. And he's a junior. It's an experienced player. That's, maybe he's a pro, maybe he's not, but it'd be his third year of college. This is a guy that can really come in and help you right away. We only keep it in mind because K-State and Missouri were great in the transfer portal last year. Great. Not good, great. Completely transformed their programs in the portal. KU hasn't really done much of it, but now they are. They're looking probably at least 4 players coming in the portal. So I think it's going to be fascinating to watch how that all works out in the transfer portal with some big name players. There's also a stud kid from the University of Wyoming that's on KU and some other schools, a big man that scores a lot. It's going to be fascinating to watch. These guys are unfettered free agents. I hate it, but it is what it is. It seems to be creating parity, at least at this point in college basketball. And if that's the case, maybe that's not such a bad thing. All right, before our final, we want to remind you that bstock.net has a red tag deal auction of the week every week. This week, it's 2019 Apple MacBook Pro, 2.6 gigahertz Intel Core i7, in very good shape, minor cosmetic wear. The only issue is the webcam doesn't work. You want to steal a MacBook Pro? Well, steal isn't the right word. You want to get it for a song just because the camera doesn't work? There you go. Red tag deal auction of the week is available at the KK List. Go to thekklist.com and bid on this little gem. You're going to get it for a song. And don't forget, this week, while they last, 65-inch Sony 4K TVs were $849, already lower than Best Buy and the Furniture Mart. $849 was already a low price. I think he's got 3 of them. 65-inch Sony 4Ks, $499, absolutely unheard of. Amazing Garage Floors is online at AmazingGarageFloors.net. Epoxy flooring that'll make you as proud of your garage as your man cave, guys. Give John a call over at Amazing Garage Floors, 913-901-7139 for AmazingGarageFloors.net. And, of course, Gary Joslin and his team at Joslin's Jewelry, the only place to go. If you're in love and you want to get married, you're thinking about popping the question, he's got a great selection of diamonds. He would love to work very quietly and privately with you at Joslin's Jewelry, 95th and Antioch, the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family. Again, all of our sponsors are at the KK List. If you're ever trying to remember this company or that company, go to thekklist.com and you'll see them all right there. Our final story today is from Florida Atlantic, the team that punched Kansas State out. Their coach is Dusty May, and he has gone public on social media telling everyone in the Florida Atlantic community and everyone around Boca Raton, Florida, to please contact me if you see one of my players out this week distracted. Apparently that means going to a movie, being in a bar, going to the beach, whatever. Contact me. If any player, you see any one of my players distracted, I want to know. He's doing this kind of as fun, but kind of serious. Like, this is the week. We got to focus in. Florida Atlantic could win this thing. I don't think they will. I think UConn's going to win it, but I'm not going to be shocked if UConn doesn't. These other teams are all capable. They've all got studs going up and down the floor. It's fun to watch, man. There's just a lot of great players at a lot of great different places. So Dusty May has put on the bat light and said, let me know if my boys are out screwing up here in Boca Raton. The best part about this, and they didn't play this up, I don't think, during the broadcast, or haven't at this point, you know what they call the Florida Atlantic Owls? Their fans are now referring to them as the Beach Boys. Ha! I love that. We got Miami in the Final Four and Florida Atlantic, which is in Boca. Boca's right on the beach. It's the Beach Boys, Florida Atlantic Owls, in the Final Four. Crazy. Hey, thanks for listening. Appreciate that very much. Thanks for telling your friends about KKHI. Have them hit that like, follow, or subscribe button. I know we got deep today. I know we hit a really, really difficult topic. I'm trying my best on these things that are heavy and important to not bring you down. I don't want to bring you down. I don't ever want this podcast to bring anyone down. We just have to find solutions to mental health. And part of it is identifying people and being allowed to identify people that have mental health issues. and not saying, okay, just because they're part of LGBTQ, we can't say they have a mental health problem. Like that's homophobic to say there's a mental health crisis over here with this group of people. But believe you me, there is a mental health crisis with those people. There is. Not all. I'm not saying that. Not all. I hinge it, but larger than the majority, than the rest of the public. And now we're seeing it in shootings, where we have 4 mass shootings of non-binary and trans people. Got to get in there. We got to get in there and be able to identify that this lifestyle is not for everyone, that they've got a mental health problem, and there's something else going on here. And until we do that, there's no stopping. People say they want to stop this. The answer isn't guns. The answer obviously isn't locking doors and having cameras. We still lost 6 people. They did everything right. We still lost people. The answer is getting to people before they do it. Finding out people that are sick in the head and getting them some help somehow, some way. So appreciate you indulging me on that topic today, and thank you as always for listening to Kevin Keatsman Has Issues.
Thanks for listening to Kevin Keatsman Has Issues, presented by Roberts Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC. To get exclusive patrons-only podcasts, receive a weekly newsletter, and attend in-person patrons-only parties, visit kkhasissues.com and become a patron today. This has been a production of Crooked Tail Media Incorporated.